Hello everyone, and welcome to another royal reading here at MadWorldTarot. Today for this first reading I have the Pulp Tarot on the tarot table. Pretty trashy, as you can see from the cover of the tarot box. Reason that I am using a rather trashy tarot as I'm looking at a rather trashy tale that possibly is going to appear in book form. And I'm talking about, of course, Jeffrey, Jessica Mulroney, Jeffrey's girlfriend, and Madame in Montecito. Reason I'm looking at them all today is that Jeffrey is back in the news. He's hardly ever not in the news, and that's because Virginia Giuffre's book is being serialized in The Guardian at the moment. Bad news for Prince Andrew. And so I thought it's an appropriate time to look at some recent blind items, bits of gossip and rumour from the website Crazy Days and Nights that talk about Jessica Mulroney, her book that she is allegedly writing, talk about Madame and her alleged friendship with Jeffrey's last girlfriend, and all of that. Interesting timing, interesting connections. The rumours, there are two in particular. The one says, with all the new interest in the Jeffrey files, one wonders if the illiterate one, Megan in other words, is worried about the photos of her together with Jeffrey's last girlfriend, who was also the last person to speak to him on the phone. And then the next bit of gossip from Crazy Days and Nights is the former friend of the illiterate one, Jessica Mulroney, in other words, has several timelines in her book which discuss how many times the illiterate one found a new partner while still with a different partner, plus exactly why the illiterate one was besties with the last person to talk to Jeffrey on the phone. Jeffrey only for the sake of YouTube. So that's the backstory. This is the Pulp Tarot. We're going to have a look. We're going to ask about Jessica's book and the status of the book and how bad it might be for Madame in Montecito. We're going to ask about Madame and her alleged connection with the girlfriend, who is Karina Shuliak. That's her name. Were they besties? And if so, how, where, how and what? We're going to ask that question. We're also going to ask about Meghan and Jeffrey. Is there any connection there? If Madame was allegedly besties with the girlfriend, did she have any connection with Jeffrey? Possibly any connection through Jeffrey to Prince Andrew? We're going to ask that question. We're going to ask finally, how worried is Madame that the story might come out thanks to her ex-best friend Jessica, and is anything going to come out? My sense of it is that Madame is quite well protected while she's in the royal and still under the royal umbrella, but she might not be under that umbrella for much longer. The D word is being bandied about again. We're going to check whether that's all a ruse or whether it's serious in the next reading. So, serious stuff today, sensitive stuff, controversial stuff. We need to remind you that this is just tarot for fun and entertainment. It is all my opinion. It is all speculation. I read energy here, and particularly energy around these kinds of rumors. And there is a disclaimer in the box below, and please read the disclaimer and please do your own research, form your own opinions, and off we go. Let's see what the cards have to tell us about this rather tangled web that might have been spun many years ago. And let's flick the allegedly switch right now and get that going, all allegedly, and see what the cards have to tell us. That's the reading itself. This is the underlying energy. You've got the Nine of Cups and it's in reverse. This is the Lush card. It looks a bit interestingly like Fergie. Not accusing Fergie of anything in this reading. There's plenty of other bits of gossip and rumour on Crazy Days and Nights about her at the moment. Not nice at all. But it has that kind of vibe. it has that kind of lush, living the high life, really quite sleazy energy when the Nine of Cups is in reverse, because it is overindulgence, living that high life, living the life of a lush, a sort of lascivious energy as well, that's coming through with that Nine of Cups in reverse. But it's also wish fulfillment energy, traditionally, the Nine of Cups, what you want in life, what you aspire to, what you hope for, what you're really invested in emotionally, and it's in reverse. So it might have been lots of dreams that got dashed along the way by association with or in this crowd. That's one thing that's coming through, is the underlying energy, dreams dashed, but also taking advantage of people through substances, people whose defenses were down, people who had tendencies with things like that. It's how that world kind of rolls. If you're into that kind of thing, you might pay a price along the way for behaviors under the influence. Let's just say a lot in that Nine of Cups in reverse, and of course allegedly sign flashing away all over this. Let's get to the heart of this reading. What are we dealing with? We're dealing with the Ace of Pentacles. Interesting. It's a bit of a working card, working girl, shall we say. And Madame did use old Dolly's 9 to 5 in her latest reel on Instagram when she was in Washington for that fortune, whatever, women, blah, blah thing. Interesting that it's working, and money. That's the heart of this reading. How very interesting that the Eight of Pentacles is kind of on the one side of the reading, and the Nine of Cups with all its associations is on the other side of this reading. And let's get to it. Jessica Mulroney and the book that she allegedly is writing. What's the status of this book? Ooh, King of Wands. He's got a rather devilish vibe, this King of Wands. And it's interesting that there's a house burning down in the background. Wow, that's quite menacing energy. This is, of course, quite a dark tarot, the Pulp Tarot. But the energy of the King of Wands, is publicity. Is normally a publisher would be the King of Swords, but the King of Wands is press, is attention, is notice, is drama, theatre, getting stuff out there. And she's very well connected in the media world, Jessica Mulroney, and even through her now ex-husband. That's potent stuff. That tells me that this thing's on fire. How bad is it potentially for Megan? The contents of the book. Six of Swords, yeah, bad. Six of Swords is trying to put the past behind you and sail away from difficulties. Sail is an interesting word. Megan maybe has tried to put this behind her. I don't get that she's very successful at putting this behind her, even though the Six of Swords is upright. The Six of Swords is one of the travel cards. In the old days, before we discovered how to fly, it would literally mean sailing the seven seas. So that could be problematic for Madame. The rumour goes that, of course, there are photos of Madame and Jeffrey's last girlfriend, as she is described. I know there are photos floating around that some people say are and some people say aren't, but I think that it could get quite bad. It could get quite bad with that Six of Swords, given all of that sailing energy. Let's look at Madame and this last girlfriend. Their relationship, they're described as besties in these bits of gossip and rumour, and I have to stress that they are gossip and rumour, and there is no substance to them at all in terms of facts that we can We can pin anything on, so we're testing them with tarot cards for fun and entertainment. Nature of their relationship, if any, might not have been any. Got the Ace of Pentacles, and it's in reverse. Big payday, big money card. Interesting. Big money card. The Ace of Pentacles. It's not showing me a friendship at all. It's showing me that if there is any connection in this, we're speculating, where this is hypothetical, and this is allegedly, if there is any connection between that, it's about money. It's about what one or t'other thought was a good thing. They were on to a good thing, a long-term prospect, a long-term proposition, a financial one that would see them through. A really big payday. It's in reverse, maybe rather underhanded, maybe rather secretive, maybe rather subversive, possibly even somewhat unlawful. It's coming through that way. That's me reading energy and me just speculating that maybe what they were up to wouldn't, when I say unlawful, let's say unethical is maybe a better word, a less controversial word, but maybe something that would be frowned upon in right-minded circles. Shall we call it like that? Shall we describe it like that? Let's ask for if there was a connection, where, how, what circumstances around it. That's the nature of the connection. As I say, this is not besties. This is more business-like. Where, how, what. Ooh, we've got the Page of Swords, and it's in reverse. The Page of Swords, interesting, kind of her little yoga mat, and there's the sea in the background. Quite interesting, that vibe. I'm more interested in the artwork of this card than what the Page of Swords traditionally means. The Page of Swords is, in its traditional meaning, is curiosity, gossip. When it's in reverse, like that, speculation, rumors, trolling, chatting. So connections that might have been made on social media, again in reverse, quite suspicious ones that you would have to kind of know the code to work out what was really going on. Just getting that all of this energy in here is, in their association, is coded, is secretive, is not straightforward, upfront, that kind of thing. The actual artwork that I said was so interesting is, it's just reminding me of those kind of influencers that you see doing their yoga poses on a beach somewhere exotic on social media. And you wonder, are they really just doing yoga poses, or is something more exotic going on? Possibly a bit of an advertisement for wares that are on offer. And that Page of Swords in reverse certainly has an energy about it for me as an energy reader that could reinforce that kind of speculation. And it is pure speculation. So let's leave those two alone. I think I have a reasonable understanding of the energy around them. Hopefully you do too. And of course it is all just speculation. Let's move on to Jeffrey himself and ask whether through this alleged friendship there was any association between Jeffrey and Madame of any kind. Oh yes. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. That's very New York. It's very advantageous, victorious, the Six of Wands, celebratory. very positive, if there was anything like that. I'm not getting this kind of energy that I've got with the last girlfriend, as she has described. It's more of sort of triumphant vibe. It's interesting that there's a yellow dress there, and I do recall seeing Madame in a yellow dress at some stage, not with himself, but I think in her brief foray into being a working royal, if I'm not mistaken. But very successful, I think, to both, that they would have both looked at this connection and felt that both did well out of it. It's almost giving me Six of Pentacles energy, but it's more egotistical, it's more showy, offy. I think he and she, opposite signs of the zodiac as far as I know, Leo and Aquarius, I think that they kind of radiated off each other in quite a powerful way, if they did ever meet. Of course, we are in the realms of speculation here and hypothetical tarot reading. Let's ask if there was any connection with Prince Andrew in any of this. Oh yes, here is the Three of Pentacles. Three, literally, the three of them. And we're looking here, and it's interesting, it says bank here, and these three, because we're in a dark tarot, of course they're up to no good here. They are plotting, in the card, they are plotting a bank robbery. That's what the card is describing. Okay, so I'm not accusing anyone of plotting a bank robbery. I'm just giving the energy of the card, the vibe of the card. It's teamwork, it's collaboration, it's conspiratorial in this case because it's a dark tarot. As I say, there's a success in the Six of Wands. It's a mutually beneficial kind of, well done, we did it. Whatever we were planning to do, we pulled off. And here is possibly what they were planning to do, or who they were planning to do, what to do. I'll leave you to speculate. I'm opening the doors to your speculation, and you are welcome to go off in whatever direction you wish to with these cards. I'm just presenting them to you. Let us move on to Megan again and the book, and how worried she might be about this book. Is she bothered by it, or is she like, who cares? I'll shut it down. What's going on? Page of Cups. It tells me that she might be doing some, not groveling, I wouldn't imagine that she's capable of groveling, but just a little bit of, what's the word, love bombing. A little bit of that. And this might be what's really going on. It might be that the book is being floated across newspapers every now and then to try and get this kind of reaction from Megan. Because I think the ghosting that Megan did when Jessica Mulroney had that moment on social media with the woman, whatever her name was, something Essex, was it Essex? Can't remember her first name. When Jessica was accused of bullying a woman of colour and being racist and all the rest of it, and Megan ghosted her allegedly. Some people say that behind the scenes they were quite tight for quite a long time afterwards. I don't know. But it could be that Jessica does this every now and then to try and get Megan to reach out to her. That's the energy that's coming through here, and Megan, I think, sees it and understands it and feels that she just has to make a gesture and it will shut the whole thing down. The thing is alive over here, the King of Wands, very threatening, very, and dangerous to Megan. But Megan believes that she can shut this thing down. Is she right to believe this? Or is the big expose coming that many people have wondered about for a very, very, very long time. How's it going to go for Megan ultimately? Ooh, we've got the Hermit and it's in reverse. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah, okay. That's bye-bye Harry. Which leads me nicely, nice segue to the next reading on the D word. That's Harry's card, of course, the Hermit. Harry, bye-bye. If Harry goes, this stuff comes out. Big reason to try and keep him sweet. I don't think she's working hard enough at that, my personal opinion. But that's interesting. That's really Harry's energy. It's no one else in the story. It's not Jeffrey's energy. It's not Jessica's. It's not Megan's. It's not Prince Andrew's. It's not any of the other people we've mentioned in this reading. It is Harry's energy. And that is Harry who leaves and goes home. He stops being a hermit. He stops being all by his own some lonesome there on the mountainside. He walks away and he goes home. He gets some sense in his head finally. Then there's big trouble for Madame. But it hasn't quite arrived yet. And she believes, Page of Cups, she believes she can shut this down with just a little, throw her something, send her some flowers, mention her on Instagram, something like that, and it'll shut it down. That's how she's got away with things so far, by love bombing people. But for how much longer? Again, all allegedly, all my opinion, all speculating. Disclaimer in the box below.